Good morning, and thank you for your interest in the Romanian archaic alphabet. I would also like to thank ATypI for this wonderful opportunity to present this peculiar alphabet. This presentation is an overview of the Romanian archaic alphabets used in the 19th century, a period of transition from Cyrillic letter forms to Latin. In this context, a hybrid character design emerged. So I'm going to present some of these letters. But first, it's important to remember that we, at the beginning, used Latin alphabet. In his historical document, Descriptio Moldavian, Dimitrie Cantemir specifies that Romanians used Latin characters until the Florence Council in 1439, where Alexander the Great ordered all Latin documents to be burned as a reaction of the spread of Catholicism. He then introduced the Cyrillic alphabet that was used on the Romanian territory until the 19th century. So due to religion, we are still Orthodox today, we wrote with Cyrillic alphabet. However, the Cyrillic alphabet did not contain some Romanian sounds like U, Sh, or Ts, so a series of other symbols needed to be added. Here we can see how some documents started to look like. It's a mix between Cyrillic and Latin. And also, we first start to see the accent and diacritics of Romanian language. This is an important example. It's called, suggestively called Both Sexes Courier, first literary magazine published by Ion Herăiată Rădulescu between 1846 and 1848, together with Curierul Românesc, the first newspaper published from 1829 to 1859. The official decree that would replace the Cyrillic alphabet with the Latin one was implemented in 1862 during Alexandru Ioan Cuza's rule of the United Principalities of Moldavia and Wallachia. Here is one of my favorite slides so we can understand how the Romanian language was formed. So we have 2% of Dacian words still left in the alphabet, 60% of Latin words, 21 Slavic words, and 17 Greek, Turkish, and later on added French, Italian, English, and German. This happened because we are a little Latin language country surrounded by non-Latin speakers. From 1881 till 1942, Romania was a kingdom, and during that time, numerous publications about Romanian typography and graphic design were printed, most of them featuring the archaic letter shapes. So now we can see how these archaic letter shapes started to evolve. They are a mix between the Cyrillic skeleton and the Latin shapes. This is the typographic almanac edited by George Philip. Was addressed to the typographic workers and published specific articles related to the history of type and printing machine, but also more generic information about art and labor of the typographer. Some of the articles were also politically oriented. The cover and the calendar published in the interior were hand-drawn using archaic letter forms, a mix of Cyrillic and Latin, but also in the cover we can see Art Nouveau influences. Another important example is Albina Românească, the Romanian Bee, the first magazine written in Romanian for Moldavia. It published official bulletins, political news from home and abroad, but later on they published literary information, historical articles, novels, and poems, becoming the main informers and supporters of the Romanian literary movement. It's interesting to notice the Cyrillic influence in the skeleton of the letters, especially in the uppercase A. In 1916, King Carol I ordered a design competition for a Romanian-specific type that would be used in print by the Bibliophile Circle. The guidelines that were given by the committee for the design of the new letter shapes were inspiration from old Romanian books, removing overlapping accents and attaching them to the body of the letter, and abandoning the emphasis of the diphthongs I and short I. Here's one of the first winning proposals, designed by Alexandru Ioan Cuza. And here's how he solved the second point by attaching the diacritics to the letters. So now the lowercase a, I think, has a very heavy head. Here's a little close-up so we can look more at the gray of the text and the verticality of this rhythm. The second winning proposal was designed by Constantin Crățăriu, and in his letter shapes we see that the influence of Cyrillic letter forms is even more stronger. And another little detail where we can see the first slanted variation of this alphabet. Another design of the albina, the B. In this period, more archaic alphabets started to appear. The design of these characters, archaic letters, also received influences by contemporary movements like Art Nouveau and Art Deco. But, however, the percentage of the decoration that can be observed in these letters makes it very difficult to have any type of classification. This is the first master punch made of hard metal, designed by Virgil Molin in 1925. He designed it with the same guidelines of the committee, and it was cut at Borga Printing Press in Bucharest. It was the first time that would be designed and cut in Romania. This typeface contains only uppercase letter, and it was made for typographical works with national character. Due to their decoration and clear influence from Cyrillic design, peculiarities in their skeleton, these new letters were designed for display use only. They have bracket serifs, vertical axis, and a modulated stroke with pronounced contrast between thick and thin. The use of a broadening pen for the writing sketches was influential into their design. This is another important example of Almanac of Romanian Graphic that was printed between 1924 and 1941 and published by the house Scrisul Românesc, Romanian Writing from Craiova. It was one of the most important modern magazines printed at the time. It offers its readers a synthesis of graphic knowledge and an overview of the past and the future of printing typographic Romanian industry. The design of the magazine is remarkable. Suit binding, hardcover, and the vignette decoration for the title and the date. We see that every cover has different logotypes for the writing of the name. Here, on the left, we can see a psychedelic influence, while on the right, a more geometric Art Deco approach. I will also show some of the designs showed and published in this publication. On the left, we have Luna, a poster design for the CFR Romanian Railroads, designed by Ovidiu Sebastian and published in the first number. It uses a geometric sans serif with a slightly inclined axis of round shapes. A calligraphic broadening pen constructions influences some characters like L, O, and R. On the right, a prayer book cover, also published in the first numbers, features a handwritten approach of the design of the letters. More examples. On the left is an ancient and modern Romanian art exhibitions. The letters are tall and narrow, with contrasted strokes. Their proportion and design features have a strong Art Nouveau influence. On the right, a book cover designed by Baron Loventhal, published in the 7th number of the magazine, features a geometric sans serif with Cyrillic influence. The shape of the letter A appears like a flipped R. On the left is Old Romanian book cover, a geometric line design in letters reminding of the Art Deco. And on the right, a beautiful example of the Miorița, a small publication by Marcelo Linescu and inserted in the magazine in number 14. Miorița is an old pastoral ballad written by Vasile Alexandri, and it's considered to be one of the most important pieces of Romanian folklore. Here we can see some of the spread. It's a beautiful example that mixes together Latin, Cyrillic, Greek, and uncial shapes coexisting in the same layout, in a woodblock printed double coral booklet. They have wide proportions, and the rivers of the justified alignment are nicely filled with red lines that create a pleasant reading rhythm. The letter A, we can see that it looks like a Greek lambda. Here's a close-up, and I really like the way the drop cap P is decorated. So during the booklet, there's many others drop caps, and they all are decorated differently. More examples are features in the technique of artistic writing. There was a brochure, and it features different alphabets that could be traced and used for specific designs. It also features some archaic ones, like this rounded sans serif version. Or this example that resembles more of American wood alphabets. I could imagine this alphabet being used for stories for children books, like the Grimm Brothers. A more bolder version, and we can see that the skeletons of some letters is similar in various designs. We can also see how the A, the B, the R, and the K, most of them have triple story designs. And we can also notice the apex of the B, D, and P, and R. And also the long stems of the L and T. These are all features that are consistent in most of the designs of this archaic alphabet. Another example featuring a short flat serif and high contrast. The proportions of the letters are also difficult to fit in specific historical examples. Later on, these letter shapes were mainly used for religion publications and decorations. So on the top, we can see the cover of the Voice of the Church, and on the bottom, the Metropolis of Ardeal. Most of my research was done here, in the Romanian Academy archives. And I would like to thank my teacher, Dinu Dumbrovician, for the guidance while making this research, and also for sending me this photo, because the archives still look like this today. There is no computer, and now there is a scanner, but when I was doing my research, there wasn't. So all of the photos that I showed you were made by me with a camera and a tripod, with not very good light. So some of them might be not very sharp. The other part of the research, however, was done on the streets in Bucharest. So some architectural examples show these archaic letter shapes. This example is from the Girls' Central School, designed by the architect Ioan Mincu. And he is known for developing a Romanian style named Neo-Romanian. The designs was, the building was decorated with Romanian archaic alphabets, and that were based off Mincu hand-drawn sketches. Here's a little close-up of some of the decoration. It's important to mention that this monument is one of the main examples that makes use of archaic letter shapes on its facade, interiors, and walls and doors. For the design of the letter shapes, they present an Art Nouveau influence. And we can see that in the reverse proportions of the letters like B, R, and S. And the main characteristic would be a monolinear contrast and semi-serifs. But the main peculiarity lies in the skeleton of the letter A, a clear reference to the Cyrillic alphabet influence, and the main characteristic of the archaic Romanian alphabet. Other peculiarities that can be spotted are the uncial design of the letter E, the small ascendant on the capital D, the broken shape of the oak counter. Oh, I have to go faster. So I will do it. Another example is also designed by Ioan Cuza, and on top of the facade we have more decoration. So the design is similar, but we can notice some more shapes like that are different in the numbers 2 and 8, and specifically in the letter D that changes its design completely from the uppercase to a lowercase. Other designs that I've seen in Bucharest is one of them is Nicolae Iorga Institute of History, where you can see the diacritic T is nicely aligned with the baseline, which could be called as the early modern approach of typography. The School of Architecture in Bucharest also features archaic Romanian letter shapes. And the Institute of the Geological Institute of Bucharest the same. Till now, the only designer who digitized and added characters of specific archaic sets is Florin Flora. And here are some examples that I've borrowed from his website. On the top left, we can see Virgin Molin's digital version. I have decided to give these letters a new try and try to give them a new voice, a contemporary voice, so the designers today would want to use them. It's quite hard assignment because the skeleton of these letters bears the fingerprint of history. However, after drawing some basic letters, I contacted some contemporary Romanian designer in order to combine their vision with mine and see if the result is coherent. So here we have some examples, well, some possible examples, of a modern interpretation of Miorița. That could be a publication only showing particular landscapes from Romania. And on the right, there's a fashion designer, a collection called Isia by Andra Handeric. So I tried to mix her vision, also inspired from Romanian folklore, with these characters that I'm still developing. Another example is Taclum, designed by Cristian Corvin. And I added a quote that could be a spread in the magazine, and the quote is from Constantin Brâncuș. What is real is not the external form, but the essence of things. I imagine this to work very well with these letter shapes, because they bear the history and they are a direct representation of the past. However, they try, or I'm trying, to give them this new voice. This is another possible example, the logo for a restaurant, also designed by Corvin Cristian. Here are the letters that I've drawn till now, as a lighter and a regular version. And this is the second alphabet that we have seen in one of the technique and artistic writing. And what I did till now is I tried to change the proportion of the some letters, making them either very wide or either very narrow, and increasing their contrast. So I would like to end with another quote from Constantin Brâncuș, that is, to see far is one thing, and getting there is another. So I still have a lot of work to do and research to see if these letter shapes can be or will be used today. Thank you so much.